Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Weight Neutral Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Devin Dirksen, and I'm here with my co host and guest today, Jennifer Au. She is going to talk to us all about self care, emotional regulation for high achievers, and how we can take care of ourselves even though we're ambitious. So, welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you so much. No, so lovely to be on the show. And also, yeah, thank you so much for your time and energy.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just dive right in then. For people who are watching and listening, I would love to hear what your story is and what you help people with and how you kind of came to get there as well. I see that you are a doctor. So tell us about that as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So my name is Jen, and I am a self care coach as well as a doctor of physical therapy. So my journey started up when I was growing up. It was difficult to emotionally regulate. I grew up in a household where essentially like it was not normal to like hold space for my emotions. And so eventually that led to a place of, me repressing my emotions for most of my life. And so essentially like that led me to a place of, striving for success as well. I was looking for validation within the external world, within my parents, within my peers and perfectionism. So I have a perfectionistic tendency and people pleasing tendency. And that was, due to my upbringing as well as, genetics, et cetera. And like what that like was all about was just really wanting to strive for success, strive for validation, and to have that love within myself. And so that took form of striving and this energy of doing, doing, doing to prove my worth. And within my household as well, it was, doing was validated. If I gave, then I would receive. And so there was this tendency to give in order for me to feel enough and worthy. And so for most of my life, that worked really well. And actually like doing in society is, like especially perfectionistics, et cetera, like people are usually patted on the back saying like, oh, like good job. Like you did so much. Like that was great. And so in school and when I went to university, I studied as a biological sciences major and I really excelled in school. I did my best. I had a lot of all-nighters. And yeah, like essentially this energy of doing was not quite burning me out yet. I was highly anxious, but I was excelling in school, doing really well, tutoring, and I was very successful academically. And, yeah, I was very successful at repressing my emotions as well. And I had all the advantages of the external world, partner, peers, validation that really, patched that, like, unworthiness feeling internally. And that really I really felt confident within myself in this external environment until I went to grad school. So that leads me into, stepping into my graduate school space as a physical therapist. And, so within this space, it was actually inauthentic decision, partially inauthentic because I went into grad school, thinking that this was the normal path that was paved for me. I was trying to do something that was accepted by society, by, my peers and, but especially my parents. And so when I went into this space, I essentially felt this imposter feeling. I felt, out of place. And I felt, I basically didn't have the peer validation, and I also had broken up with my long-term partner, which really supported me throughout my undergraduate years. And so as a result, without any of these bandages of, validation and also without the community, without support, I was left alone with my own internal feelings of not enoughness. The striving energy did not, help in this moment. Striving before kept me going, kept me successful as my happiness was locked into the future. But at the same time, it was successful in terms of striving for happiness that was locked into the future. And in this time in grad school, essentially, my emotions, all the subconscious things, all these things that were there before kind of emerged into the conscious level where I was crying. I was basically had panic attacks, dissociation. And so, eventually, what happened after that was I had to learn how to self regulate. I had to learn how to care for myself. I had to learn how to be aware and how to be mindful. And that led me into my personal development journey, which I had never embarked on previously. And so, honestly, it's been a wild journey, but I'm so grateful that I experienced all the things that I experienced because it led me to really knowing myself deeply, to understanding my emotions, what is going on within my mind and body, and how can I hold space for that? How can I allow those energies to heal and to transform into energies that are more intentional? And so that led me into my like whole self care coaching business, and also leaving the 9 to 5 for now. And yeah, and so right now I help women do the exact same thing, let go of the striving and understand the striving, where it's coming from, if it's not enoughness, and to open up to the present moment, to open up to all the sensations of the mind and body, and to really allow yourself to self regulate so you can really step into the intentional version of self. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's awesome, and I just, like I feel like you said a lot there, so I just wanna go back and say, I also did a biological sciences degree, so I feel very, very aligned to your story as well that, like, I I definitely feel like that was an unaligned decision for me, and so I feel like I can really resonate with your story around that, but I think people listening will also be able to see themselves, especially if you've been involved in any type of academia or post-secondary education. I think that those places cultivate that mindset, like, intentionally almost, and or maybe not intentionally, but, there's always someone doing more work. There's always someone, like, pulling more all-nighters or, like, it creates kind of a competitive environment, I think, in a lot of ways, and so it can be really easy to get sucked in, and then it just, like sorry that I'm going on, but, like, I found for me, like, I really thought that mentality would end once I started my career as a biologist, and it didn't. It was more of the same, more people still doing the same thing, and I think that that was a big, like, turning point for me and why I didn't choose to pursue that, career path.
wow. Yes, no, 100%. It's like the hustle mentality. And I remember even times where I'd be like, yeah, I pulled an all-nighter. It's like you're proud to work hard.
Mhm.
And working hard is like is validated from the external, from peers, etc. So yeah. And yeah, I love how you were saying like it didn't end when you became a biologist, when you were working the 9 to 5. And yeah, for me also. Like I worked at a travel contract job for physical therapy, and I was seeing 16 patients a day, and that was honestly quite a lot. And, productivity was really, valued. And but I see that productivity as a way of like, I feel like there's a way of being productive and still aligned with yourself, but their productivity, the way I was being productive was just going, 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 going without any breaks. And it's really taxing to the body and mind.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that it's so interesting because we do get praised a lot, right? And people are listening and thinking, like, this is a nutrition podcast. Why are you talking about this? And it's because the parallels between this and dieting are so obvious, right? Like, people get praised for dieting, they get praised for losing weight, they get praised for eating less and exercising more. And then it just becomes kind of the same type of spiral as like the hustle spiral, right? So, how did you start to come out of this? And what can people kind of glean from your journey? Like, were there a lot of like I don't know, crying or like I don't know, maybe not, but, like, what was kind of the process behind if people are thinking that they resonate with this, like, how can they start to do that as well?
Yeah, no, 100%. And there was a lot of crying, girl. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, the beginning processes, it was just um, really understanding myself. I was letting go of this aspect of self, like this high achieving, successful person. It was a grieving process of who I thought I was. I was attached to this identity of being successful as a student or being successful as X, Y, and Z. And so for me, it was a lot of crying initially and really just processing and like this grieving process, really questioning like who am I? And so what was really helpful for me was really understanding myself, really understanding where this driving energy was coming from. And eventually it really led me to like allow myself to let go of the attachment to this version of self, this ideal version of self, this successful version of me. It was allowing myself to let go of that version of success and redefine success for myself. Because during that moment, I defined success as if, for example, it could be like a perfect student or perfect entrepreneur or X, Y, and Z. And I really had to let go of that and allow myself to come back to the present moment and to emotionally regulate and also to recognize that success for me is being open to the present moment, being open to the here, right now, right here. And so my tips would be to just be here. Just allow yourself to be here and to be open to your present moment reality, whatever that is. Doesn't matter. The future is not here yet. The past is gone. But, and of course, the past can be superimposed into the present. And that's when we can also work on the past if it is within the present moment. And so for tips, I would say emotional regulation, central nervous regulation is key. That is everything. And that is something you can practice moment to moment, that awareness and learning how to emotionally regulate your nervous system. And yeah, so the work that I do is revolved around somatic work and processing the emotions from the body. And that's something that is like really, really powerful, tapping into the body's wisdom, etc. But something quick and easy to do is just breathing. We have our breath, and it's impermanent, of course. But a lot of times we take this breath for granted. And even just taking a deep breath in through the nose and back out. Another deep breath into the nose and back out. Another deep breath in through the nose and all the way out. Every exhale longer than the inhale. And I like to shake my hands too.
That is
But
helpful.
yeah. And so the breath is just such a powerful tool for emotional regulation. And that's something that we can tap into when we are feeling those sensations of anxiety or happiness, whenever. But for sure, the ultimate practice is when things are more difficult, and that's when we don't breathe. And
Mhm.
so, breathing is the most important thing during those times.
Totally, yeah, I just came from yoga, so I feel very refreshed and and, like, that was a good somatic and body exercise. So I love that you shared that with us. Can we go back a little bit and just, like, for us mortals who don't know, what is emotional regulation? And also, I feel like emotional regulation or dysregulation or nervous system regulation, like, all of these terms have been thrown around a lot on, like, trendy, like TikTok and Instagram, and people are like, "I'm out of regulation," or, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, can you, like, give it to us straight in a like, a professional way that isn't just like, "That seems unregulated." I don't know. I just see it everywhere, and I'm like, I feel like a lot of these people don't know what they're talking about.
Right, yeah. So there's a couple of different states. So there is a state when we are safe and social. So you can think of it as you're open. Your nervous system is in an open state. And then there's a place where it's called shutdown, where our nervous system is like feeling hopeless, more despair. Our body posture is like this. And when we're in a safe and social space where our nervous system is is regulated, we're feeling safe in our environment. How we feel internally is safe, and how we perceive things externally in the outside world is safe. But when we're in a place where we're more in dysregulated state, it could be like the shutdown state, we're feeling unsafe. And it also could be like if our nervous system is in fight or flight, this is kind of looks like this. We're in a state where we're just like our heart is racing and our sympathetic nervous system is on. And we're like, oh my God, like what's going on internally, right? And
Mhm.
then so outside, we will also feel this unsafety. But when we're in the shutdown state, it's basically me in my graduate school experience during the first semester. Some of those times we're kind of in this state where we're like really hopeless, despair, almost like this depressed state. And I visualize my inner child like this. And then how I see outside world is also unsafe and hopeless and despair. So our internal state kind of dictates how we view the external world, which is wild. I think it's so fascinating because we can be in this hopeless or fight or flight state. And, outside is actually okay. Like things just are, and there's nothing, there's no tiger, nothing that is actually wrong with the external. But our nervous system is telling us, like, yes, there is something wrong. This is
Right.
not okay. And so that's why coming back to the nervous system, like, that's why, like, coming back to taking care of the internal state is the most important thing in terms of like emotional regulation. Because if we're able to shift how our nervous system state, if we're able to kind of hold space for those parts and to kind of down regulate the nervous system, meaning just grounding down to the nerve, like grounding down within this present moment. And just, if we're in this fight or flight state, just breathing and just allowing it to just be there and pass. Or if we're in this hopeless despair space, we can sometimes get stuck in it. And so doing things or breathing and help and even changing your posture to start getting out of that state, it's so, so, so powerful because then we can start seeing the world more clearly as it is. We can recognize that like how we are perceiving the external world is not actually the reality. That our thoughts, it's so crazy because we believe our thoughts so much. But sometimes it's not the reality and how we are feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's not valid. Yeah.
Mhm.
That makes
Cool. Well,
sense.
thank you. Yeah, thanks for that explanation. Um, I feel like we could talk about a million things, but I guess I'm curious for those people who are listening who would identify as like the high achievers or the perfectionists, how do you kind of like reconcile your want to do a lot of things and be a lot of things with this like, I don't want to be in this fight or flight stage and I don't want to feel hopeless? Like, is there a balance or what do we do?
Okay. Yeah. So, let me answer the usually, so let me go back a little bit. So usually the high achievers, the ones that are striving, 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 going, 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 the perfectionistic, they're usually in the fight or flight state. Um, for them, so sometimes if they're burnt out, they could be in that, like, other state. And so what they can do is just recognize that there's no wrong state. If you're in fight or flight, if you're more sympathetic, that's okay. If you are in this hopeless despair kind of shutdown state, that's okay. All of these states are not bad, but what we want to do is just to be aware of, like, where we are within this present moment and hold space for those aspects of self so it can move through and you can move the energy through to help be in a safe and social state or start taking action. So, um, and also for the high achieving women or just the high achievers, usually they are really holding on to this dream and goal. And there's nothing wrong with having ambition. There's nothing wrong with having dreams. But what we want to do, the endpoint would be to let go of attachment of this endpoint. Like, because when we're saying, I will be happy when I lose this amount of pounds, I will be happy when I am X, Y, and Z in terms of my weight, then you are locking your happiness to that point. I will be happy when that happens. There's nothing wrong with having that endpoint, but the question is, how can we let go of attachment of this endpoint or this dream, whatever it is? And it's really the first thing is to also understand this striving energy. So I would recommend journaling about what is driving you to try so hard. What is the reason for this striving energy? And usually it goes back down to not enoughness. And then it's then creating, understanding that story and creating what your intentional version of self would say. So that's a little bit about like how you can let go of attachment. There's so many things to say.
Yeah, totally, and I think that's so true, like, that's kind of what I help my clients with as well, and this the attachment to the weight thing, but I think that there is a lot of parallels between the attachment to anything external, right? Like, whether it's a promotion or your weight or how you look or whatever, it generally is coming from that feeling of, like, not feeling enough in whatever way, and for dieting, it can go back to your childhood or the media or whatever, right? So, I'm sure you see the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so, before we get to the last question, I wanted to ask, like, what are your self-care tips for high achievers? Do you
Yes.
have, like, specific tips that are just, like, I don't know. I still think we're in the place of people believing that self-care is a bubble bath once a week. So,
Right.
I feel like I don't know. I think the conversation's starting to shift, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
Ooh, I do love bubble baths.
Me too.
But yeah, it's nice. But yeah, 100%. So self-care for high achievers, I would say, first of all, set intentions and an action plan for yourself. So, for example, an intention is to practice self care. And so it's like the intention is the why for the action plan. Like, and why is it that you want to practice self care? And it's because I matter. My intention is to really remember that I matter. This present moment matters. I want to lock my happiness in the here and now. I want to be open to the here and now. I want to be open to all of the sensations, emotions of the present moment. And I want to take care of my inner child. And usually that not enoughness is coming from like the younger versions of self that is just wanting love. And so it's like, I want, so personally on my journey, I'm also learning to take care of that part of myself beyond being a coach. It's like, I have parts of myself that really want that love and care. And so that would be my intention, right? And so, action plan would be things that can help execute this intention. And so it could be things like work boundaries, or it could be like setting times in the day for decompression or self care, taking time to do fun things, that could be self care because sometimes we get too serious about like weight loss or like even like work or whatever. And so it's just like, yeah, that's another thing that you can do. Do fun things. Who are you beyond the role that you play at work or a mother, girlfriend, etc. And so other things would be, yeah, like self-care practice in the morning or nighttime and without electronics. So really taking that time to just be with yourself without distraction. So it could be like meditation, journaling, things like that. And also emotional regulation practice when difficult emotions arise. So what is your key practice? Like, what do you want to practice? So for example, like breathing exercises or a guided meditation from Insight Timer and, yeah, and also, another kind of tip, for self-care for high achievers is journaling about what like, what is success to the striving mind? Why is it trying so hard? Where is the striving energy coming from? What would your intentional version of yourself say, the best version of yourself? And what is your intentional version of success to you? And yeah, so that's a little bit of the tips for high achievers. Mhm.
Yeah, no, those are great tips because I think, like, people can take what they want from that. I am a big fan of journaling prompts, so I'm gonna use some of those. And, yeah, I just, like honestly, like, I was really hesitant to get into yoga, and then once I did, I was like, "I need to keep doing this, otherwise I feel just like I don't get enough time to just be with myself and my body." So, I really am pro yoga now, but I think people can do whatever they want, like you said, the breath work or the meditation or anything like that. I don't know. I think these things are kinda cliche sometimes in people's minds, but they really do work and they matter.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, awesome. So last question, the question I ask every single guest, what would you tell your 18-year-old self about health or life or anything at all?
Wow, I love this question. Yeah, my 18-year-old self then, was totally not in this realm of personal development, self-care, and I was just striving and striving, for success, and that was my, like, striving for love in the external. And so I would tell my 18-year-old self, like, hey, Jen, like, I totally get that I totally get you right now. And I know why you're acting the way you're acting. I know why you're trying so hard in school, why you are dating a lot of guys for that validation. And I know sometimes you feel that emptiness within your heart. And I just want to let you know that it's okay what you're experiencing. And I know that you feel like there's this constant kind of like race to receive validation. And I think right now you also feel like everything is fine and everything like that. But I just wanted to point this out that you are actually striving for success externally and striving for validation, striving for enoughness in the external. And I just want you to know that your love is within yourself. It's not within the external world. It's not in your partner. It's not what you are getting from other people. You already have everything within yourself. And I know it's like a pattern to date a lot of guys or whatever into this like pattern, and I just want you to know that like the universe has your back and you can connect to your light source energy. You can connect back to yourself. The love that you've been looking for externally has always been there within this present moment. It's always been there with you. And you can connect to that love. And I know you don't feel like it's there, but there's a part of you that is abandoning yourself. And that's okay. But I just want you to know that it's already here. You are here within yourself. Love is already here. And yeah, just be open to it and know that everything is okay.
Yeah, I love that. Most people are just like, "I'd let her do the same stuff," and, like, obviously, that's part of it, but I like that you are so in depth and, like, that it's gonna be okay and everything, so thank you for sharing with us. Where can people find you and connect with you if they wanna hear more about your services or just follow your social media?
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. So I do have a Facebook, but I also have an Instagram that I mainly post on. So my Instagram handle is JENNXAU. And my website is www.drjennau.com. So yeah, I would love to connect. And you can also message me on or email me. My email is jennxau@gmail.com. So if you would like to connect, I would be so happy to connect. And I'm also offering Devin's amazing community a free coming home session and a subconscious guided meditation experience. And the coming home call is all about really, it's an opportunity for you to take a look at your life, take a look at your life from a bird's eye perspective, to really see yourself, see where you are at, your challenges, your dreams, who you are beyond the roles, and to really take a look at what are your values in life. And it's like, if you had 1 year left to live, oh, that's another good question I like. If you had 1 year left to live, like, what would you do? And that really shows you what you actually value. And for me, it's like the authentic connection, the connections with others, not working, not like, oh, I should have done X, Y, and Z. And so this call is really about learning more about my services, but also really understanding what do you want in life? What are your truest intentions? Because sometimes in life, we just go through the day to day life and we just do and do and do. And it becomes our norm, even though it's not our intentional version of how we would like to live that is aligned with our truest values and authentic values.
Totally. Well, awesome. Well, we will link all of that in the show notes and the description on YouTube so people can find it easily and they can connect with you there. That's super awesome. Thank you for sharing that free gift with us. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much for being here, Jen. It was great chatting with you and I hope people liked it. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
But thank you so much for your time and energy.